This is Waterborne ceiling paint. It costs a lot of money because the fine folks at Benjamin Moore hired a wizard to infuse each and every can with magic. The paint actually applies itself to ceilings. None of that is true, except that it is incredibly expensive. Let's review it, shall we?
I've seen the fruits of my labor. What I have, I built with my own hands.
Yo, what's cracking, folks? Jeremy Vassar here with Practical Painting. We are professional painters here to help you with your various painting endeavors. And on that note, if you have any paints or painting products you'd like to see reviewed on the channel, let us know in the comments below. We do take a look at all of those. And if you come up with something that maybe we haven't reviewed yet, or something that we could kind of get our hands on and try out on some job sites, then I will do a review of it if it kind of fits into what we're doing here on the channel. So again, let us know in the comments below. In this video, I will be reviewing Benjamin Moore's Waterborne ceiling paint, the ultra flat variety. Alrighty, here it is. This is Benjamin Moore's Waterborne ceiling paint, the ultra flat variety, also known as 508 if you want to be in the cool kids club. It is their kind of premium flagship ceiling paint at the moment. It seems to be the one that they are pushing the most in most of their stores. At least that is what I've noticed in my wanderings. It's a latex-based paint, so you're going to use soap and water to clean up your brush and roller and all that good stuff. So this would go on any interior ceilings in your house that aren't in a bathroom with a steam-producing element. I think I've prattled on about this in a bunch of my other videos, but it's worth mentioning here. If you're painting a bathroom that has a shower or a bathtub in it that produces a lot of steam, you're going to want to use a specialty product for that. So from Benjamin Moore, it would be their Bath and Spa paint, and from Sherwin-Williams, it would be either their Duration line of paints or Emerald. Both of those have the moisture and mold blocking agents built into it. So just be aware of that. You just don't want to run into any mold issues or the paint failing or any unpleasantries like that. Anyways, so for the rest of your house, your living room ceiling, family room ceiling, hallways, bedroom ceilings, all that stuff, you can use a latex/waterborne product like this, and that's where this is going. So anyway, onward. You've got some rooms in your house you want to paint some ceilings. You want to know if this is the product for you. And you may have gotten recommended it by, someone at a Benjamin Moore store or another painter or a decorator. That's also very common. So I'm going to assess this product on 5 different elements. So let's start with numero uno. Number 1 is coverage. When I'm using a ceiling paint, I'm looking to be able to cover an already white ceiling with another white ceiling paint in 2 coats. I haven't had any issues with this product. 2 coats looks great every time, even if the color's a little bit off. Again, I'm not being like unreasonable. If there's a super big color change, I know you might have to do 3 coats to get it to look decent. We're using the Ultra Finish 1/2 inch roller covers from Purdy. That's what they look like right there. Yeah, boom. So these are super nice. We switched over them a little bit ago. This is the 1/2 inch nap, but 9 inches this way. We also use the 14 inchers, and you can crush with these. These are great. We switched over to those a little while ago too. And then with a decent roller cover, you can get 2 coats on, no problem, and this cover's great. So again, no issues with that part of the process. Onward to number 2, which is thickness. I mentioned this in another video where I went over some Sherwin-Williams ceiling paint, and generally I like thick ceiling paint. If it's too thin, then what happens when you go to cut in, the paint will actually, because you're painting above you, it will kind of drip down into the heel of the brush and get on your hands, especially if it's super, super thin, which is really annoying. And then generally you have coverage issues. Now, on the other end of the spectrum is the Waterborne ceiling paint from Benjamin Moore. It is crazy thick. It's almost like a paste. Like it's noticeably weirdly thick. One of my buddies that used it a lot when he switched over to Benjamin Moore actually watered it down, and like, because it's so thick. And then the issue with that is you don't have as much problem with it kind of dripping down through the brush, but it is much, much slower to cut in. That's what I've noticed a lot, and that's probably one of the big things I don't like about this product is it's like, I would say it's almost like 50% too thick. Which I know if you haven't used a lot of paints that you might not notice that, because, if you're a homeowner painting for yourself, you probably haven't tried like 15 some odd ceiling paints like I have over the years, but anyway, it's weirdly thick. Everybody on my crew says so, and it cuts in very slow, and cutting in is when you're edging in all of the, like, around the edges of the ceiling and like cutting around lights and anything else that's in the ceiling, and then you're going to roll the rest. But yeah, it is weirdly thick, and one of the issues with that is it just slows down the process. It's even slower to roll. It takes a while for the roller to soak up enough paint to actually start speeding up, which leads me to my number 3, which is something to consider, which is Splatter. Now, when I say Splatter, every ceiling paint splatters. So when you're rolling, and I've said this again, the roller's going to be, you know, rolling above you, and as the roller rolls, because of gravity and science and so forth, little droplets of the paint are going to kind of fleck off and, you know, hit things underneath, you know, the ceiling, which is what you're rolling because everything's above you. Now, the issue with that is, you know, if you're painting a ceiling, chances are you should have everything tarped off, unless there's like no flooring or whatever. But anyway, everything's gonna be tarped off, but that doesn't stop the paint from getting on you. Generally, we wear hats, but still, it gets in your eyes, it gets all over your equipment, it gets on your hands, and this paint flecks like crazy. Now, what's weird is usually paint that flecks is like thin, so just some like thinner paints and formulations that I've used over the years on ceilings will fleck a lot, and usually they're very, again, like I said, they're very thin. Now, this is oddly thick, but it also flecks a lot, which is weird. And again, that's something I also dislike about this product is that amount. Like if you're doing this in a fully finished house and there's actual like floor and carpet and furniture and everything, like you really need to make sure you're tarping things off. Like you need to have tarps over all the floor, plastic over all the furniture, anything like that, because it's like through the entire room there will be little bits of that everywhere. So just be aware of that. Again, that is a big downside of this product, which again, if you're used to using thick paints, you're going to be shocked at how much this actually sprays everywhere. So keep that in mind. Number 4 is sheen/finish, which is kind of, I kind of lump these into the same category, which is what's the actual sheen of this product? Is the sheen actually representative of what they say it is? And then how does the product finish? Like, what does it look like when you're done and you've applied it and it's cured and dried and your all job's done? So the sheen on this is ultra flat, which I always find that odd that paint manufacturers will add ultra in front of flat, but there's a lot of shenanigans that go on with naming paint, particularly with sheens. They're not all the same through different manufacturers. So technically, if you say something paint is flat, it should have no sheen to it, but that's not always the case. So if you add ultra to it, then, you know, that way you know they mean business. However, that being said, I know I'm poking a little fun, but this product genuinely is ultra flat. It is a dead flat ceiling paint. That's usually how I described it. So it's not reflective at all. It absorbs light really nicely, and the finish on it is really nice. So when you, one of the reasons you want a flat ceiling paint in your common areas in your room is that you want it all to blend together. You don't want to see lap marks, which is the overlapping lines of where the roller has kind of rolled over itself. So as long as you're not getting any big raspberries or anything like that, and you've spread the product well enough, you're not going to see any of those lap marks. Also, it doesn't do what's called picture framing, which is where if you cut in a ceiling with the brush on the outside and then roll into those cut lines, picture framing is when you can see the difference between where you've cut in with a brush and where you've rolled with the roller. So this doesn't do that at all either. So the finish quality is really high, I will say that, and this gets top marks for it actually being a flat ceiling paint, and the finish quality is really good. Onward to number 5, which is cost. Now, Benjamin Moore doesn't have unified pricing. So if you're used to going to somewhere like Home Depot or Lowe's or Sherwin-Williams, all those stores are connected to one another, and they're all owned by the same company. So the prices are generally the same across the board. Now, it depends on what kind of account you have and things like that. But Benjamin Moore stores are individual franchises, which means each one of those individual stores tends to set the prices of each product. I think they get a minimum of what they can, of what they have to charge for the paint because they're buying it from Benjamin Moore distributors. But this product gets just way out of control for ceiling paint. At 2 different stores, I've seen a couple different prices. Usually at the store we use the most, I'm paying about $32 a gallon, which is high for a ceiling paint. However, this can that sits right before me, I went to a more local store that I also really like, but this gallon cost me $44, which is banana sandwich for ceiling paint. That's too much. You should not be paying that much for ceiling paint, and also, this is not magical ceiling paint. It really isn't. There's a bunch of other products from different manufacturers, even from Benjamin Moore, that do a better job for much less money. Superhide. So, yeah, for like $35 to $45, which is a really common range for this price, for this product to sit at, it's just, I would have a really hard time recommending it over some other products that I'm aware of. One of the things too that if you're going to charge that much, some things that really bother me, like this is a plastic can, and they're super annoying to work out of. And what happens is paint gets in the rim, and then it's hard to get the lid back on. They're hard to open. So again, for a premium ceiling paint, just give me a metal can. I know there's like shortages, but still you're charging like $35 to $45 a can. It shouldn't be in plastic. So if you don't paint a lot and you might not be familiar with like pricing of paint, and keep in mind like this might all be adjusted in the future, so I don't know when you're watching it, but as of the filming of this video, $35 to $45 for a can of ceiling paint is way too expensive. If this can was like $25, I could get behind it. Even with the splattering issues and how slow it is to apply, I could see a place for it, but at its current price point, I can't, in good consciousness, I can't really recommend it, particularly with some of the other products that I'm aware of that I will be reviewing shortly. So, that all being said, that's going to do it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful in any way, shape, or form, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And until next time, y'all take it easy, work smart, and have a good one. Peace.
Amazing.